Walk factor 8.
Their mission: to boldly go where no man has gone before. But outer space has other plans. And now, their mission has changed.
There's just one thing I want.
Revenge, Captain?
Why not?
Introducing the 9th film by Quentin Tarantino.
What were your orders, Kirk? To start a war? You've succeeded.
They meant to bring peace to the galaxy.
This will be your final battlefield.
They brought their pieces instead. It's a galaxy of green blood, green women, and Nazis.
Tell me your orders. You were sent here to kill our Führer. Confess. What in blazes is this?
Captain Kirk, the captain's log isn't the only wood he's packing.
Captain.
Mr. Spock, half Vulcan, half human, full killing machine. Bones, this doctor is the real McCoy. Uhura, sending out vibes on all frequencies. Sulu, deadly at the helm, even deadlier with a blade. Chekhov, one badass mother Russian. And Scotty, he'll give you all he's got.
I didn't say the Enterprise should be hauling garbage. It should be hauled away as garbage.
Set your phasers to thrill.
Keep your f***ing hands off me.
In this final frontier, their prime directive is to kill. Quentin Tarantino's Star Trek. Voyage to Vengeance.
You're out of your f***ing mind, Spock.
Coming soon to a drive-in near you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to yet another episode of Rogan Radio, live from the friendly confines of Studio A on the campus of Casa La Rogan Lumberport.
Is this a campus now?
Hey,
yeah.
hold these up again. Hold these up.
Wait a minute.
Everybody see again. Hold yours
Well,
up, Jack.
yeah.
His is so much bigger than yours.
Boing. That's what all the guys at the truck stop say, Jimmy. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening to ya. What was that, Brucey?
Oh, I was going to say, talking about who's here today.
Hey, Jimmy finally showed up.
Jimmy Wiz.
From the land of the lost. Jimmy
Wiz, safety
Wiz.
mind engineer extraordinaire. He is back in the studio tonight.
We've really missed you, Jim. You know that?
I know.
Because you're like an integral, you're like a cog in our wheel.
It's one of the original.
And when you're not here.
Come on, it's like us.
Yeah, I know. I know. Me and you. I know.
Alexa, Simon says, thank you, Jimmy, for showing up.
Thank you, Jimmy, for showing up.
Show it up.
Whatever she tried to say there. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening to you. We have a great show planned for you tonight. We're going to be talking to David Moore. David is in need of a transplant. He's going to have a liver transplant, and he's going to be going to Pittsburgh soon. He has a fundraiser coming up. But what's interesting about this, and I didn't know when I've been talking to David, it's going to be a live liver transplant. Now, if you don't know what the liver does, liver's pretty important. You can't live without one.
Right.
And you can actually take up to 25 or actually 75% of your liver out, give it to somebody else, and yours will grow back in like 4 to 6 weeks. It's nuts.
It's the only organ that will regenerate.
Just like that. Absolutely. So we're going to be talking to David.
Is that the time frame? 4 to 6 weeks?
Believe it or not, yeah.
Yeah, nothing will
After
grow
that
back.
much is gone.
Yeah.
Wow. I knew it regenerated, but I didn't think it was
It's
that
crazy.
much.
It's crazy. We're also going to be talking about a big thing Mike Hurst has coming up. It's called the it's a national thing. It's about Mustangs. Now, Mustangs are wild horses out west, and the problem is there are a lot of them. They try to control them so much, I guess, with the Bureau of Land Management because they get, it's almost like deer. You have to somewhat control them somewhat. And what they normally do is kind of corral them. I just read a story not too long ago. They corral these things, and then they take them to like little, they take them to like shelters or like holding pens around the country because they can't really adopt them out because they're wild. But anyway, they came up with this thing. It's a national contest called the Extreme Mustang Makeover.
Sponsored by Elmer's Glue.
Yeah.
No. That's a joke.
But Mike Hurst, if you know Mike Hurst, Mike's all about horses and training horses, and he is going to have 4 of these things along with trainers down in Jane Lou on February 25th, and we're going to be there.
Bright Bill Farm Training Facility.
Absolutely. And he's going to have 4 Mustangs that have never been touched, never been ridden. And so he called
the First Touch Demo on the 25th at Bright Bill Farms Training Facility.
So we're talking to him, and he goes, "Hey man, listen.
Why don't you guys come on up here? We'll put one of you on the back of one of these wild
First time ever."
be on
And
the
I was
Virgin
like
horse,
this.
don't
I was
you?
like, hell yeah. I'm all about riding a horse.
Yeah, save a horse, ride a cowboy, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. Michelle, we put her last week. She was in D.C. Then we shipped her to Honolulu. Tonight she is in a different position. She's going to have a live report not only from Australia, by the way, Australia where they had the Open. Tennis, by the way, if you're not familiar with that. But she's also going to then fly to Hollywood because the Grammys are tonight. Whoever watches the Grammys, I'm not even really sure what the Grammys are.
I'm telling you, this is getting expensive.
Is that where,
this whole
all
thing's-
your grandmothers kind of get together?
They also
Grammys?
like the Grammy
Yeah, they all kinda
Association.
hang out.
Not the
They all
grannies.
sit there and
The
play
grannies.
pinochle.
Yeah,
Bingo.
we're not talking about gilfs. We're talking about the grannies.
There's
We're
no
talking about the
such
grannies.
thing, Chuck. It's a
We're
gift.
talking about the grannies. Or Grammys now. See, Jimmy's in my head. So
Jimmy's
anyway,
on your head. What?
Then she's going to go out there. And we also have a big announcement because one of our very own in the studio, D-Mac, he has decided to run for the House of Delegates.
Yep.
You're probably the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, Derek said,
Look
make,
around.
make America great
Derek,
again.
look around.
Yeah.
Look around.
Yeah. We're gonna do
You're
this
definitely
again.
the smartest one on this side of the table.
On the
but the
Oh,
big
man.
thing you want to be watching for is tomorrow is Michelle's birthday. Now, she's not here to listen to this, so that's why we're drinking. We're not drinking Miller Lite. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Miller High Life in the studio, the official adult beverage of Rogan Radio.
When Michelle's not
On
here.
this side of the table there, you got a Polish guy, a Japanese, and a Viking. Come on.
and a Viking. Oh Lord.
You know what? What did the Polish, the Japanese, and the Vikings say when they got into the bar? You want to have a threesome? I don't know. I couldn't think of anything.
No sound effect for that. Quack, 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 quack.
Oh, you know what I forgot? I have it somewhere. The pen. Antoinette Ellis sent us a pen from the old box office.
Oh yeah.
From the old box office, as he sent us in the mail.
That's pretty awesome.
It's probably in the house. If you would. I'm giving a cue to somebody to go ahead. But anyway, Antoinette sent us this thing. You know the old box office that they had. Now they have recently came up with the new box office there at the Sunset Ellis, and there's a person that made actual pins out of the old box office. And she sent us one because it's part of history. That thing's like,
Absolutely. That's
so
cool
it was
as
like I
hell.
was like, that is fantastic. That is awesome.
I was up there Friday night.
Were you?
Friday night. Yeah, Friday night. We went up for dinner.
Yeah, what'd you have?
What did I have? Spaghetti.
Of course.
And garlic toast and salad bar, and the favorite. And then Megan had Alfredo.
Who's Alfredo? Who's that guy?
You know, I don't know. I've never met him.
Right.
He's got
But he
a
tastes
creamy
pretty
sauce.
good?
He just
Yeah.
gives you his white sauce.
Maybe he's related to, KFC.
It might be. I don't know. But no, yeah, we were there
Looks like
Friday
a more
night.
Chef Boyardee, but
Had a
Hey,
little talk.
and I also wanted to make a special shout out.
Done me in your bed, I felt it. I tried to be chill, but
Who
you're
is
so
that?
hot that I
ain't me.
melted. I felt
Why is that so loud?
That's not me, bro. I am muted.
Who
Look,
was
everybody.
that? Where did that come from?
We've been hacked.
We were just sitting there.
We've been
the
hacked.
Russians.
The damn-
It's the Russians. There's that pen, by the way.
Wait a minute.
Jimmy, that's got to be somebody.
No, it ain't.
Who is that?
It's on.
I like it though, man. Come on, play some more of that.
Listen, somebody's got.
That's awesome.
There's like an app or something going on. Who is that?
That is not me, Hunky.
I don't know.
Bruce, is your phone plugged in anything?
It's on my board, though.
No?
I can tell you that. And
It's on
not me.
yours?
Yep. It came up on my board.
That's what we needed for you. That's what we needed for your joke a minute ago, right there.
That
Oh,
came up
man.
on my board.
I don't know why.
Salad bar, the favorite, and then Megan had Alfredo. No, wait a
Who's
minute.
Alfredo?
It's not her, is
It's
it?
not her.
Is it Alexa? Stop, Alexa.
Anthony Morgan said that our studio was
Well, that-
Something's going on. That's weird. That's
be
bizarre.
It's gotta be her.
Anyway, this is the pen that wood right
Got
there
it.
was from the old box office.
That's really neat how they did that, you know? We ought to get some pins made out of this building.
well,
Get a close up on that camera.
Heather Vargas is
Yeah,
your
there.
favorite.
Hold it up there,
Yeah,
Chuck.
give it to Chad there.
Heather Bargo, she has not got her shirt yet.
No.
Well,
Heather
you know
said-
what, Todd is the official.
does
What's the
not
word I'm
see
looking for? Todd is the official mailer outer of everything. Everybody wins. And
Anthony Morgan's
No,
a ghost
Heather.
of Gilf past.
hey, now speaking of pins, also, well, listen, this is a pin family here. Donnie Stonebreaker over at Waltz went over there to get some. I actually had one of the tires on the Passat was just going bad. So anyway, so he gave us pins, and he said he would crap his pants.
Yeah.
And he gave us enough pins for everybody in here in the studio.
Okay.
If he would see pins from Waltz being
all right.
shown,
Oh,
so
here we
everybody, here are your pins from
So when
Waltz.
we talk, we have to.
Yeah, so tonight is the pins.
I could campaign with this pen.
You could.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You tell him we're one shy.
Okay, listen. Wait a minute. Hold on.
Hey, found out
I'm
about
getting.
his brother.
Derek McIntyre, when you sign your first bill,
Yeah.
you can.
I can use a Waltz pen.
You can.
I will do
Started
that.
going to Waltz. I get my vehicles inspected there now.
I think I'm getting a. Let me see. I think we have a thing here from Michelle. She's down in right now. She's down in Australia. We sent her over to Australia,
Down under.
Oh, wow.
and she is actually. They had the Australian Open, which is absolutely fantastic. And what was great about it for Rogan Radio, they specifically had a different thing here now. Michelle, you're down in Australia, right? So I understand, maybe, perhaps.
Hi, no, Mike. Yeah.
Oh, there she is.
Mike.
Hey, mate. Down under.
Howdy, not Michelle. That's Olivia Newton-John.
Let's get. Hey,
Physical.
Hey, Olivia.
Physical.
Let's get physical. Yeah. How's everything going down there? What's the land down under like?
It is wonderful. It is absolutely wonderful down here. I've met so many tennis players.
Now watch the balls right behind you.
Oh, well,
I
careful.
know,
Careful.
right? Right. I've been dodging them all day. Dodgeball.
We're not talking about your honeymoon.
Balls down under.
What? Oh, what?
Yeah, yeah.
Good to hear you guys. What's under?
How's now? Listen, one thing that is great about Australia is the Fermunda cheese. Have you tried that?
Gross.
Famunda?
The Famunda
Yeah,
cheese.
the Fermunda cheese.
From down under?
It's a delicacy.
Hey, by the way, Bruce is from Japan. Now I want you to listen to this. This might help you. How long are you going? You're not. How long you've been down there now?
A couple days.
Watch out! Watch that ball behind you.
Couple days.
Look out! Look out! The ball boy's back there. Look at her! Look at her! But anyway, Bruce is from Japan, which is relatively closer to Australia than say we are by chance. But Bruce speaks fluent Australian, if you can believe that or not. Brucey, go ahead and maybe you can now listen. Take advantage of this. Go ahead. Brucey, go ahead and give her a skill on Australian.
Hi, Michelle. How you doing today? How was it yesterday?
Howdy, mate.
I love it.
Howdy, mate.
Have you seen any kangaroos or anything?
I have.
You have?
Yes.
Did you get to play in her pouch?
Yes.
Have you seen any of the Aboriginal tribes? There's one down there called the Fakawi tribe. Have you seen them?
What I want to know is
Fakawi tribe.
What I want to know is, have you blew on a didgeridoo?
My hairdo? Actually, my hairdo was done by somebody down here. Yeah. And I've been here all day with these tennis players, and I've got to play with them.
What?
And
Say
I
it
got to
again?
play some tennis.
Yeah.
It's been awesome.
Wow. Now listen.
Awesome.
Now listen. Tomorrow's your birthday, and we have your birthday coming up. But we're going to do that a little bit later. But so I mean, tell me about Australia. Have you got to throw a boomerang? Have you got to eat out on a bobby? Have you seen anybody's knife? Have anything like that?
Anybody's.
Is it right? Yeah, it's right.
Yeah.
Everything's all right. I'm doing all right, babe. Everything's good.
The best part about it is we have this awesome connection to where the delay's not even
Yeah,
there.
I'm trying to hear you guys. I'm trying to hear you guys. Australia's wonderful. It's wonderful.
We have a big following down in Australia, which we want to thank everybody. That's why we actually sent Michelle down to watch the tennis match.
Yeah.
Is that we between
And
Melbourne
actually,
and everything else.
The guy that won the Australian Open, I forget his name, but
Federer.
But he's already won. But since we're delayed, like they're doing it live again for us.
That is amazing.
It is because we're 12, 13 hours behind or something. So we're actually seeing it live again. And this is wonderful that I get to be here live again.
Yeah. Hey, listen,
that's amazing.
Mike Husted wants to know if you can bring us back a bloomin' onion. You can bring us back one of them for Mike?
Yes.
All right, Mike. There you go, buddy. That's for you.
Have you seen any in the Subaru Outbacks there, by the way?
The Outbacks, there's no Outback Steakhouses here, but I know there's one back home in Bridgeport, and there's one in Morgantown.
But
no Outbacks here.
Okay. Hey, listen.
I haven't got to see that, babe.
Hey,
this did great. I still had a good time.
Was that last shot in or out? How'd they rule that? Did they rule that shot in or did they rule it out?
The last shot behind you. Look behind you, right behind you there.
It was in or was it out?
No, I really don't know. I'm just here.
Well, you're live, guys.
That is great. Hey, listen, babe, you have to get on a plane because you're heading, halfway across the world backwards,
yes,
sort of.
I have been asked
to.
I have been asked to broadcast live from the red carpet tonight from the Grammys.
And listen, see
in Hollywood, California. And I'm so excited.
Hey, let me see your best serve right now. You have a tennis racket in your hand. Let me see.
Nice little back
Okay,
swing.
wait. I did this all day. I've been doing this all day. Are you ready?
Let's see it.
Okay.
Backhand.
Let me put my microphone in.
Okay, here we go.
All right, don't hit the cameraman now. Here we go. And
you're not playing baseball, babe.
Yeah, she's waiting for the pitch. She's waiting for the pitch. Woo.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
Good. It
looks like Babe Ruth.
That's Mrs. Deeds.
Oh my goodness gracious, Michelle, you have a safe trip back. You have a safe trip back.
It's still going.
Listen.
Look.
Wow, I just caught the damn thing. Look at that thing.
Touchdown.
All right, baby. Hey, listen. We'll see you soon. Get up there to Hollywood, and then you better get back here for your birthday.
Right.
All right. We'll see it, ladies and gentlemen. That was Michelle Rogan broadcasting live from the Australian Open. Now, what we're going to do to break it up a little bit, we're going to dance, and not only we're going to dance, we're going to make them fly. So go ahead and get the emoji. Let them things fly out, baby.
Fly. Hit the emojis. Hit the heart. Hit the smiling faces. Hit the frowny faces.
Actually, we have a new thing. Hey, why don't you hit the lights? Let's dance a little bit while we're doing this. Go ahead and hit the emoji.
Everybody, I don't see enough emojis. Yeah. Now we're getting down.
Now we're talking. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you, the Duggar Dance coming up. It's going to be coming up on February the 10th up at the Courtyard Marriott on Bridgeport, and they have a very special rate for that. We're rocking it out with our chickens out tonight. D-Mac, he is going to be talking a little bit later about his candidacy for the House of Delegates here in West Virginia.
Give a little little talk about what that's going to entail and everything. That'll be good.
That'll be fantastic. We have we couldn't get Mike. I thought about getting Mike on here tonight, but we have David Moore coming up talking about the live liver transplant, and so maybe next week we'll get Mike Hurst in here to talk about the Extreme Mustang Makeover, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. We're going to be down there riding a Mustang, at least documenting the fact.
Well, you're going to be riding a Mustang.
They have 100 days, absolutely 100 days, to take a wild Mustang, to tame it to the point where it can be adopted.
That's pretty awesome, really.
It absolutely is. If you have any questions for us, go ahead and ask us. I'm just kind of in the mood to chill out. And by the way, I went to the doctor. Let me tell you this thing.
This is very interesting. The story is very interesting.
Yeah, let me tell you about this thing. So I went to the doctor there the other day, and I haven't been to I go to the doctor once a year because you know what? I'm a pretty healthy dude.
Whether you want to, have to, or not.
So I go in, I weigh in. You know the whole doctor deal. It's sort of like how I feel about dentists. You go in, and they're always going to find something wrong with you, right?
Right, yeah.
Well, she's looking over the charts, and she said, Chuck. I said, yes. She said, last December, when you came in here, you weighed 171. I said, today you weighed in at 201.
Oh, wow.
That's a big 30 pounds in a year, right?
Yeah. That's almost 30 pounds.
30 pounds in a year. And I said, well, hey, listen, I'm married now, and I've changed jobs, so I don't walk 12 miles a day anymore. I don't do any of that. So I'm relaxed. I'm gaining a little bit of weight, perhaps. But it's all in my pants, so it's okay.
Yeah. Well, hey, at least they found it. I mean,
well, unlike
it follows right behind you every day.
Justin Farrell wants to know who the gray-haired guy beside you is, Chuck.
Ooh.
Actually, that is nasty.
Gray means
distinguished.
Distinguished.
Listen, you should see my hair right now. All right.
It ain't no worse than mine, pal.
That's our little new thing. We have little dance lights in here tonight.
All right, take the udders off my face, Darren.
Thanks for all the emojis, by the way. We love the emoji stuff. And the thing about Facebook is that you're going to start seeing less and less and less of business pages. So it takes your comments, it takes your shares to get the word out. And remember, at 7 o'clock on Sundays, or 7:05 or 7:10 or at 7:15, if you don't see anything, check us out on Rogan Radio because we're probably here at some point.
Yeah, hit that follow button, and then it says like view now or see first or something around there. Hit that too. Subscribe, yeah.
And that's how it works.
Yeah, and then it'll send you a notification. Mm-hmm. Say hello.
We had the Super Blood Blue Satan Death Moon coming up on the 31st. Well, listen, man, this only happens once every 150 years, by the way. The dinosaur killing Satan Blood Moon, child molesting stuff that happens in the sky on the 31st is nuts. It's not only a supermoon, it's a blue moon and a blue moon.
And it's a lunar eclipse.
And it's a lunar eclipse all on the same night. You will never see this again.
And I got this thing from the USA
Today. Actually, your kids aren't even going to see this again.
It says the USA Today says, how rare is this event? Said even without the supermoon, it's the first blue moon total lunar eclipse in the U.S. since less than a year after the Civil War ended.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's a long time ago.
The trifecta. But now they said the lunar eclipse, because we're on the East Coast, they said the West Coast will get it. We'll only get about half of that. And we'll have to see it in the morning, but the West Coast is going to get it.
You know, it's going to look the same to me as the other ones did.
I'm sorry
I
I
didn't watch them
messed
either.
up reading our messages and forgot to change cameras.
Best bet to watch the moon on that day, take a flight, go above the clouds.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then you look around, you might be able to see
maybe
it.
Michelle see it on her way back from where's she going to be? Yeah. Where's she going to be next?
I don't know. I have no idea. Actually, the 31st is what, on Wednesday?
Mm-hmm.
That is correct.
Yeah. Alexa, what's the weather going to be like on Wednesday?
On Wednesday, January 31st, there will be intermittent clouds with a high of 46 and a low of 35.
So we're probably not going to see it then because of clouds.
I hope not.
Alexa, ask the Magic 8 Ball if we're going to see the dinosaur-killing, child-molesting super blue moon.
Welcome to the Magic 8 Ball. You can ask me a question and I will give you an answer.
He was trying to.
Alexa.
The Magic...
Never mind.
Shut up, Alexa.
We brought Alexa in the studios tonight to kind of give us a little bit of support, and she's just going nuts.
What's her deal?
I don't know. She's just mad because every time that Michelle leaves, her and Michelle have struck up this relationship. It used to be Alexa and me in the house. You know what I mean? And
Well,
listen,
you need
by
to
the
call
way,
her, right now you need to call her something else.
if you have,
Surprised she's not saying other stuff.
if you have one of those in your house, when one of those, now this is what's funny, when you have one of those commercials comes on that Amazon kind of wants to sell one, and it says, okay, her name, buy me like 20 rolls of toilet paper, right?
Yeah.
And you're thinking, whoa, is mine going to buy 20 rolls? Is mine not a problem? Is it going to buy 20 rolls of toilet paper? I don't know.
Well, see, here's the thing. I got one in my living room,
Alexa.
and it's over there somewhere close to my TV.
Buy me 30 rolls of toilet
I changed
paper.
it. You can change the name. There's like three different names that I know of.
Sorry, I'm not sure.
I know for a fact.
Hey, Alexa,
Anyway,
kiss my ass.
That'll take all week.
Shut up.
but anyway, I changed mine to Echo in the living room because when the commercial comes in, I didn't want it to
Right.
do like what
Because you
were
can
saying.
actually change the thing to computer now if you want to.
You can say,
Yeah,
you
I
can
think
say
it's
computer.
computer.
Say computer.
Amazon, Echo, and then the original name. And but that's how I get by with that.
Absolutely, I love it though because it controls the lights. We have the disco lights in the house now. I mean, it is fan-freaking-tastic.
Anthony Morgan says Alexa's PMSing.
Well, that may be. I need to bring
You know,
my
I was,
Google over.
I was
You
reading
do.
it,
We
trying
need
to
to
go,
have a-
what's PMZ mean? What does that mean?
It's like TMZ?
mean?
PMSing?
PMSing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get that. PM. I said,
Who
what
we
the
have
hell is
watching? Who we
PM?
have watching right now?
We got David Moore, Amy Haberbosch Wilson.
Hello, Amy
has
Wilson.
just joined on
Hello.
there.
Robert Hamrick.
Yeah, David Moore's on here. Yep.
David, we're going to be calling you here very shortly. David
Hey.
Moore's the one we're going to have a big interview with.
Donnie Everett.
Donnie D. Everett over in D.C.
Vicky McBexon, Eric Husted, or Mike Husted, rather, not Eric.
Hold on. Actually, I think we're going to go. We're going to go ahead and we're going to go right back out. Man, that was a fast flight on the X-22. We're going to go out to Hollywood now. Tonight is the Grammys. Can you find me
Damn,
that?
Michelle's already there.
I couldn't believe it. I just got this in my ear, and they told me to hurry up and do this. Can you find me that "Hooray for Hollywood" song or whatever's on Facebook?
Oh, hooray for
whatever
Hollywood.
that song is, Hollywood.
Oh, let's see if I can find that.
Just put Hollywood song on YouTube. Anyway, I couldn't believe it. She was just down in Australia. Now all of a sudden she's going to be over at the Grammys. Now are the Grammys? That's for music, right? Is DJ Jazzy Jeff going to win anything tonight?
Yeah, I hope so.
If he doesn't, he gets robbed.
Kind of like
the Fresh Prince. I want him to win this year.
is he actually in it this year? I was just saying that.
I don't know.
I don't know.
He's always in it every year.
I always vote for Two Live Crew.
Well,
So you know what? If you have to win
They're a
anything,
band in the U.S.
ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and shoot
for
it on out.
Tupac.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and head out to Hollywood to our very own correspondent there. She is actually on the red carpet right now, if you can believe it. It's amazing. On the day before her birthday, she's out here. She's doing all this stuff. And Michelle, all the stars are out. You see movie stars, and you also see a lot of recording artists. We're music fans here. What's the deal? I mean, how's it all going out there?
Oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. I have seen so many stars coming in here.
Have you?
It's great.
Have you
This
got
is great.
Have you got any autographs?
I've gotten several. Yeah.
like who? Who's your favorite musical artist, by the way?
Is that what the Emmys are?
No, this is the Grammys tonight.
Grammys?
Yeah.
What's the Grammys? Is that
coming
movies?
here,
That's
guys.
that's music.
Oh, music?
No, who is your favorite recording artist tonight that might win this thing?
I'm not sure. I just know that I got off a flight. I threw on a gown, put on some hot pink lipstick,
Hot pink, baby.
and I am here. I'm here.
Anybody have any questions for Michelle, by the way?
No, she looks very nice this evening.
It's absolutely amazing how you can do that.
Great.
Are you walking on the? Are you on the? Is that where they have the stars in the ground? On the sidewalk.
Yeah,
Is
out
that
there
right?
in Hollywood.
Who are
Yeah.
you standing on right now? Who are you standing on, Michelle?
Better not
Who
be
is
John
that?
Ritter or Sean Connery, wherever he is.
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah, Michael Jackson.
They got that roped off so the kids don't walk on it.
Do you know if Tom Cruise is singing tonight?
Shut up, dude. That is not right.
All right, well, he's not.
Tom Cruise?
Is he singing tonight?
I think so.
Tom Cruise, yeah, very nice.
Yeah, I think so.
Here's my Hooray for Hollywood song right there. It's not playing. Damn internet.
Who's that?
That's crazy. I know who's up for a Grammy, though. Who do you think it is?
Dennis Rodman?
Nope.
Taylor Swift.
Nope. No.
I know right where he's going with this.
It's Vaughn.
Vaughn Hagerty.
Okay, then.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, He is in Hollywood, on the sidewalk of stars at the Manchurian Theater. It is the Grammys with Vaughn Haggerty. He appeared live at the Mellon Arena with Metallica, Van Halen, Poison, that other group, Def Leppard. His name is Vaughn Haggerty. We're going to be talking back with Michelle here in a minute. Maybe she can get an interview with her.
With Monster?
With the Vonster Monster, Vaughn
Haggerty.
Vaughn Haggerty. Get your tickets now at the Mellon Arena, 681-222-7646. Buy now and get 15 free pin tickets from 1983.
Oh my God, I love that so much.
Hey, you know what? I learned something today about the pin at the Mellon Arena. By the way, that was actually
Civic Arena.
Well, the very first thing was the Mellon Arena, and that was a thing that Kaufman made up, right? And actually, the Mellon Arena, the Penn Arena, the Igloo, whatever you want to call it, the Civic Arena, that was the very first sports stadium in the world that had a retractable roof.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was pretty neat. You saw it in what was the movie?
Sudden Death.
Sudden Death, when Jean-Claude Van Damme
washed over.
Yeah, which by the way, his new thing on Amazon is fantastic. His new show. Have you seen that? Oh, it's absolutely
Van Johnson
brilliant.
or whatever.
Van Johnson, yeah. So anyway,
Anthony Morgan said Vaughn Haggerty slammed Chuck Norris once.
I believe that.
Dang.
Yep, he did.
Hey,
it.
listen, find me some Chuck Norris jokes. Substitute Van Haggerty for him. Van Haggerty. I'm calling it like Van Halen. Vaughn Haggerty. Find me some Chuck Norris jokes. So anyway, we're going to go back out there. Is Michelle? You still out there by chance? We're getting our stuff. Back in communication here real quick. So anyway, and something else with Kaufman was with, they had the big Kaufman. Did you ever go to the original Kaufman's in Pittsburgh, the department store downtown?
Yeah, oh, man.
It was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
But have you heard of Falling Water?
Yeah.
Okay, and then that was, guess what? That was a Kaufman thing, and that was one of the big homes up there right outside of Pittsburgh.
That was Somerset.
Yeah.
How about that? I had no idea. That's crazy.
But that was one of his projects. It was built in 1961, by the way, for like I don't know, $30 million, something simple, pocket change. Anyway, Michelle, have you seen Vaughn Haggerty out there by chance?
Hi.
Listen. Whenever D-Mac goes on these things, we have to apologize because when we hear that, we have to do our own thing. You traveled all this way. Can you give us any insight of what's going on with the Grammys tonight?
Well, I know that there's a lot of celebrities and stars starting to roll in on the red carpet, and I'm getting to just be here and see all of it, and it's amazing.
I can tell you. I can see stars in your eyes. Actually,
it's so nice. It's so nice.
Have you seen anything from Pearl Jam, the Beatles, anything, the Rolling Stones?
What about Johnny Cash?
Yeah. Eddie, have you seen anything I
haven't seen any broken bones, no.
Okay. Hey,
no
listen.
broken bones tonight, not so far.
Now listen, what you need to do.
You never know.
Now,
The night's early.
Hey, listen.
There's a lot of people drinking and stuff. So there may be some broken bones.
Hey, listen. You have to watch the casting couches out there, so don't stay out there very long. Go ahead and get on the plane, get back here because we have to wish you a happy birthday.
Okay.
All right, baby.
What day?
Your birthday.
Okay, I'll be back before Christmas Day.
Okay.
Okay.
Love you, baby. Bye-bye.
Love you.
All right, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
See you later.
Just look at these Chuck Norris ones.
Yeah, here's one for you. Well, but we have to substitute Chuck Norris with Vaughn Haggerty.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here I got one for you real quick.
First of all, let's set this up.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, new episode on Rogan Radio. It's Chuck Norris jokes substituted for Vaughn Haggerty.
Vaughn Haggerty. Here we go. Vaughn Haggerty died 20 years ago. Death just hasn't built up the courage to tell him yet.
Vaughn Haggerty.
Vaughn Haggerty was once on American Idol. He won using sign language.
Vaughn Haggerty.
Vaughn Haggerty has already been to Mars. That's why there's no signs of life.
Vaughn Haggerty.
Vaughn Haggerty. Well, here's what.
Hold on.
There used to be a street named Vaughn Haggerty, but no one has changed it because nobody crosses Vaughn Haggerty and lives.
Vaughn Haggerty.
Vaughn Haggerty once had a death once had a
Von Haggerty experience.
Von Haggerty.
Von Haggerty doesn't dial the wrong number. You answered the wrong phone.
Von Haggerty was the first person his mom had sex with. Von Haggerty.
Von Haggerty threw a grenade and killed 50 people. Then it exploded.
Von Haggerty hit 11 out of 10 targets with 9 bullets.
Von Haggerty uses a stunt double for crying scenes.
Yeah. Before going to bed, the boogeyman always checks his closet for
Von Haggerty.
Haggerty.
Oh my God!
Shit. I got 1,000 of these things, Chuck.
Listen.
Wait a minute. I got one more.
Okay, go ahead.
It was turned in here from Mike Houston. All right. Von Haggerty once won a game of Connect 4 with 3 moves.
Von Haggerty. Straight from D.C., it was Donnie Everett. You know what? One of these days, we're going to have to pass the torch on to somebody else. It can't be Von Haggerty forever.
Why not? We love
it
Von
can,
Haggerty.
and he's becoming this immortal status now.
Yeah.
And it's just like
It started with his name.
Yeah,
though.
that's it.
But that's the whole thing. When you have a name like that, you're either, and I've always stood by this, you're either a Viking, you either own a strip club, or you're a Russian gangster. It's one of them.
He's all three.
Vaughn's brother was Dan Haggerty, Grizzly Adams.
Grizzly Adams.
Well, how about Don Faggerty? Or
Haggerty?
Yeah.
How do you spell that, Chuck?
Listen, I was thinking Don Haggerty, but I got the F's with Don.
Hey, Chuck, did you know that Von Haggerty had a role in Star Wars?
No, I didn't.
He was the Force.
I asked Vaughn the other day. I don't know, did I send it to you guys? I asked Vaughn. I said, "Hey man, when you coming on?"
Yeah,
he's starting to work Sunday nights now.
Oh,
yeah.
We got to change. You know what? Then we got to change our podcast to Saturday night.
Listen, he's going to be a star, and he's not even going to know it. Nobody even knows who the hell Von Haggerty is, but it just sounds like he's a rock star, and he is. He's only got 80,000 people a week listening about it.
I know, right?
We talk more about Vaughn than anybody else on this show.
Listen, Von Haggerty is the only person that can kick someone in the back of the face.
Oh my God!
These things are fucking great.
He's gonna be one of those guys like, you know, you see these YouTube sensations around the world. Von Haggerty, who is Von Haggerty? Millions of people.
When it takes off on YouTube, people
It's
making
gonna
stuff,
happen.
and like you see like somebody like there's Von Haggerty, and all you see is the back of somebody's head, and you start seeing this all over the place. You never see who he is.
Nope.
Von Haggerty can sit at the corner of a round table.
These will go on forever.
Yeah, I can do these for. Listen, there are literally 241 pages of these things.
Oh my gosh!
I don't know how much time we got.
Oh, I think that's my phone actually.
Oh my!
Whew.
I'm out of breath.
That is not my phone.
Oh, it's not me.
Chuck Norris can lift up a chair with one hand while he's sitting on it.
Okay,
we're done.
Russian roulette with a fully loaded
Anyway,
gun.
what else do we have to talk about here?
And
Did
one.
we ever get into, once again, the Super Blood Moon? That's going to happen on Wednesday. Now, if you have a chance to do this, I think the actual full moon is going to come out like a day or two beforehand. Go ahead and check that out. And then, but this is going to be one of those things that you're only going to see this thing once in your lifetime. Last time, once again, it was a month before the Civil War or a month after the Civil War was ended.
Well, it says right here less than a year after. So, but that's all it gave me right there. Thank you,
And,
USA Today.
That's pretty crazy.
Once again, I want to thank Donnie Stonebreaker over at Waltz for passing out some pens. He said he was going to crap himself. And we also have a pen. This right here is absolutely, that's legit.
Listen, that is really neat.
That's a very nice pen from Antoinette and the rest of the Ellis family over there. That was made out of the old box office, which is pretty cool. If you're just tuning in, hey, listen, now, we would really appreciate this. This is an interactive kind of a podcast deal. We were originally at the beginning of the year going to do like the social hour, which we will probably wind down, and then actually get into the podcast more. But it hasn't done that. We haven't done that yet.
Yeah. We really legitimately should try to get back into that and be more in depth with like
certain
the
topics.
Mustang.
Get back on
Absolutely.
topics.
And stuff
Absolutely.
like that.
So, like, if you're listening right now, like on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, FM radio, wherever you're listening to this stuff, go ahead and share it. But the important thing is for right now, check us out on YouTube or on Facebook, because that's where, like, when Michelle was when she was in Australia or Hollywood, or she was over in D.C. last week. And you're going to actually see that stuff because as far as a podcast goes, that's where we're being kind of lazy because audio, when you're listening to it through audio, it's not going to be so great when you actually watch it through video. That aspect of things, fantastic.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, we're going to work that stuff out. We're going to get back to the actual podcast here pretty soon. So, but go ahead and like it and share it, repost it, do whatever you have to do. We would really appreciate that.
Heather Bargo wants to know if we've all had too much beer.
No, we're just having a good time.
I haven't had one, Heather. None. Zero.
The funny part about it is there's no such thing as too much beer.
Yeah,
that's true.
Well, that was kind of a dumb question.
You know, I mean, you've got 7 guys sitting in a room. How many beers do you think it would take to be too much beers?
A lot of beers, Chad.
Well, it could be suggesting for us to drink some more.
Perhaps.
that could be.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? That almost sounds like a challenge.
We have too much on those.
Instead of having
too
a
much
Tide
beer
Pod
challenge.
why don't we have a Miller High Life challenge?
I think we ought to take that one chip challenge again, Chad.
Hey, by the way, we want to once again thank KDS Permanent Design Shirts and More. We get a lot of questions about where do we get our decals, where do we get our tumblers, hats, the shirts that we wear, and stuff like that. You can find them in Fairmont at 304-366-1234, or do a Facebook search at KDS Permanent Design Shirts and More. We always want to give Steve and Denise a little shout out there because they've been really good to us, and we try to repay the favor.
And they're quick.
They
turn
might
it around
be getting
quick.
in with the
embroidery
here.
Yeah,
soon.
that's gonna be pretty good.
They do anything, right? Like I just come up with hey, I just want to print my own shirt.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be Rogan Radio stuff. It could be anything that you want. If you have like a ball
yeah,
team
don't
or
have to be
whatever it
Rogan
has to. If
Oh
you have
yeah,
some
I've had shirts done for my granddaughter. My daughter's
Look
had
who just
shirts
walked in the
done.
door. Michelle's back. Go ahead and take a seat there, babe.
Hey, what's going on?
Yeah, finally. She has been busy. And you know what? She always looks so young and so vibrant and so sexy.
Are you saying that because her birthday's tomorrow?
Yes.
Well,
Listen, 39 is not.
She told me.
hold up.
We have a plan. Tomorrow's her birthday, and what I got her for her birthday, because everybody always says, what'd you get Michelle for her birthday? Well, the girls and I, for her birthday, decided to go ahead, and it was the girls' idea more than mine, to get her like a remote start for her Jeep. Okay?
Oh, I'd like to have one of those too.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and do that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so what we're going to, like my birthday present, see, I was smart. Because we're going to go over to AVC over in Glen Elk to actually have the remote start put in.
Audio-visual concepts.
Right. John Burnett and all that. And then...
well, he's been over there for a long, long,
yeah,
long
yeah.
time.
Well, his dad started it, and then they used to have those big with the
Like
Punch
30,
45s and all
35
that.
years,
Yeah, for a long time.
Oh, he's put in 2 stereos for me. He
Yeah,
has.
they're
does good work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very much so.
Yep.
So anyway, so on the 5th, they were going to actually put that thing in her Jeep on the 14th. Just so happens, Chuck was thinking, okay, the 14th, that's Valentine's Day, 2 birds, 1 stone. Hey, you want to go to Florida? Michelle, would you like to go to Florida?
I would love to, baby.
Boom. So on the 14th, is it the 14th or 15th we're leaving?
The 14th.
We're going to go down to Florida for her birthday / Valentine's Day / 1 stone kills 2 birds.
That's going to be great. Listen, now, we're not going to miss a Rogan Radio for that, are we?
Probably not.
What?
Well, the 14th is on
Yeah.
Thursday.
No, it's on a Wednesday.
Wednesday,
yeah,
So,
we're good.
you know.
Date night through the weekend. But now here's the funny thing. Let me tell you a funny story about Michelle. So we're talking the other night because she's going to be actually going down to Mexico in the midsummer. Okay, so we're looking through. She gets this thing where she has to change her name on the passport, and she's like, "Oh my goodness, it's going to cost me $110 to get my name changed on the passport."
Which is ridiculous.
And I was like, "Well, how much is a normal passport?"
$110.
$110. Like, well, you're just getting a new passport because they
But
haven't.
I'm
do that.
only getting my name changed, and it's supposed to be good for 10 years.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. If you go ahead
So
and get a
that
new...
makes me mad.
But if she just gets her name changed on the one she has...
It's
does it
$110.
Yeah, but does it still expire on that expiration date on that passport?
No, it should be.
It's a
It's a
renewal,
new
so
10
it'll
years.
actually be
Yeah.
it'll
10
be
years
a
from
new
then.
10 years, but
10
I've
years.
only had it for 2 years.
So anyway,
Oh,
so
Like,
I
just
I
paid
guess you should have
$110.
known you were getting married to Chuck.
God, maybe I shouldn't have gotten married. Yeah.
Oh, now it comes out.
Oh,
okay. Well, then now I'm
the
more
look on your face.
now
Steve.
I'm very much more satisfied to tell you this story.
Okay.
Babe, I'm just kidding.
So anyhow, I was looking up, and the difference. There's actually a thing called a passport card. Also, there's a passport book.
Yeah.
Okay, that you for international travel that you can use anywhere in the world.
Right.
And there's also a thing called the passport card. Now the card's $30, and you can use those if you want to drive in a car, or if you go on a cruise. You can't take an international flight with a passport card.
Okay.
But you can't go on a cruise.
You can't go on a cruise. So
Oh, I
if
didn't
you want to
know.
go to the Bahamas, you spend $30 instead of $110. You can go anywhere you want in the Caribbean. No big deal. You want to go to Mexico? Boom. Canada? Boom. $30. That's all you need.
How long is it good for?
I guess 10 years.
10 years, same thing?
So here's the funny thing. So I'm sitting here talking. I was like, why? I said, why? I said, I would love to go to Ireland. I would love to go to Europe, go through Austria, the Alps, and Switzerland or whatever, go through Bavaria. I would love to do that stuff. But more than likely, there's a lot of stuff in the United States I've never seen, which I would like to do that first.
Well, absolutely.
So why would I want to get a passport book when I could get, for $30, this passport card if we wanted to go on a cruise and go down to the Caribbean? And here's what she told me, because she's very smart.
Logic is kicking
She
in.
goes, well, what if we want to take a flight to Hawaii?
Okay, nice talking.
Don't
with
laugh,
you.
T-Mac.
And I was like this.
I don't listen.
And I was like this. I was like, what?
Same as Alaska, I guess.
I was like, what?
I get what she's saying.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm like, you
Can I
understand?
redeem myself at any point on this show or not?
Listen, everybody's so afraid of you in this room. Now listen,
I am.
do you notice? Now have you noticed that was a
am.
funny joke? And I'm sure everybody in Facebook and YouTube world and podcast land are thinking, "What a dipshit!" But everybody in this room knows better not to mess with her. That's why nobody laughed. It was like the worst joke ever told. It was like, "Oh, I understand what she's saying."
I can't believe
Yeah,
you
like, I
actually
get it.
said that on air.
Well, what
You're gonna pay
we
so
need a
bad.
passport. Why would
I
I want a passport
I
book,
know-
Michelle? Because
I-
maybe you want to go to Hawaii, babe.
I know exactly why she was worrying about passport, because it's easier to fly from, let's say, fly from California, fly straight to the Hawaii. She said, Chuck, I like to go visit Australia. Oh, down the south.
Well, that's
There
true
you go.
too.
I mean, it's just right.
Give me another Australian accent, Brucey. Give me something. Give me another translation.
Today's Sunday. Tomorrow's a Monday.
He's got it down, man.
Yeah, he does.
He's got it down.
I thought he was Australian for a second.
I'm going to tell you a story. It's something similar like that.
Okay.
Okay, but I'm not going to tell you who the female's name is.
Because she's sitting right beside you, right?
I know. It's not
Oh, is
Michelle.
it me
Oh,
again?
must be
it's
Megan.
Like,
Must
okay.
be Megan,
Listen,
yeah.
We were looking at hunting magazine one time, and it shows the guy holding the deer there. And she said, how do they get those deer to sit so still when they take those pictures?
Well, because they're dead.
They're even trying to be funny because they're sticking their tongue out.
Yeah, it's like, I don't understand how that happens. And I was like, well, they're dead. Oh my gosh, I got a couple more, but I'm not going to talk about them. Makes life interesting.
Yes, it does. Anyway, go ahead and send David a text. We'll get David on the phone here. We're going to talk about David. David's going to be getting a liver transplant here in the next few weeks, and we're going to learn about what's very interesting and how you can be a donor, and more importantly, what happens in the process of, say like with a liver, which is the big thing, is that thing will grow back. Thank God it does, because you know what? We abuse ours to death.
Yours would have been gone a long time ago.
That's why I drink black coffee, which, by the way, once again, going back to my flu shot thing, I got terribly sick from getting the flu shot the other day. I got a headache,
Oh, he
sinuses.
did not.
Listen, I got the
Babe.
I took
Yes,
that
he
flu
did, 'cause
shot.
I listened to him
Listen,
bitch half a day.
Oh, I was terrible. I felt awful.
He married a nurse, so there's not much. Like, I love you to death. I love you to pieces, and
30 seconds after I took that
I will
flu
take
shot.
care of you when it is needed to be. But babe, honestly, you were fine.
30 seconds
were
after I took
fine.
that flu shot, I was puking.
I hate the flu shot.
And
You were not.
I haven't had one since I got out of the military in 2011.
I quit doing that too.
I got one because my boy said I had to.
Yeah,
I've got
and
one there.
we all got one.
Well,
and
you
Chuck
should,
had
though,
two,
because you got a
too.
baby coming.
That's why she said. And I also got that.
Wait, how
there's a
long?
Tdap.
Wait, you didn't tell
I
me
got that
about
Tdap
Tdap.
shot too.
pregnant?
Yeah, you have to get.
Does
the
it look like
Tdap.
I'm pregnant or what?
Yeah, sort of.
It kind of does.
If I get some kind of papers in the mail because I had to go to court for child support, I'm going to be upset.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I got my. This is the first time I got the flu shot, and I can't remember the last time.
Do you
I got
actually
the flu
believe the
But
flu
that's
shot?
it.
They say it
Yes.
all starts in Australia, and this year it's the Australian
Well,
and
they
Japanese
base
flu,
the
right?
CDC actually bases our flu year upon Australia's flu year.
Just
So
because
they-
they have their
Because
year
they-
starts so
it
much
comes
sooner.
first, yeah.
Because the planes spray there
It
right
comes
before
first,
us.
but the problem
Because they're all
actually-
dirty down
the
there,
problem
down
this
under.
year, the problem this year lied with. Okay.
Sorry, Australians, we love.
From
Keep
under,
going,
down
keep
under.
going.
The problem this year lied with the fact that
Who lied?
I didn't say anybody lied. The
Oh.
problem that lied with this year's flu vaccine,
Yeah.
which it's still good to get a flu vaccine,
Right.
but the problem that lied there was that they based it upon Australia's flu year, and by the time the actual germ got to the United States, it had mutated
I
into a
got you.
different virus.
So they made a
That's
vaccine.
why it's only
So-
10% effective.
Yeah, 10%.
So
still-
zombie apocalypse is coming.
Perhaps.
Hey,
Back to our subject earlier, I need to get my rifle sighted in.
Yeah, right.
Also, real quick, back on the passport card thing.
Yeah.
Here's important information. Cindy just chimed in. She said, the only problem with a passport card is if you have a heart attack or get sick in Mexico, your ass is staying in Mexico until you are well enough to travel back via car or cruise. See,
so you can't fly back
be
either.
Flown out. You
Right.
can't
Well,
leave
that's the problem.
without
yeah.
a legit passport.
Well, you know what? The simple solution
That's
is.
why you need the book.
Simple solution is don't go to Mexico.
Yeah, but they do
right.
got free healthcare.
So you can stay.
Anywhere,
I
babe.
don't want to go to Mexico.
Hey, ole,
Gringo.
we were sitting in line at the border to get
Yeah.
back in.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was walking down the street. He had antibiotic. It was amoxicillin. Oh,
He was selling it.
so
I don't even
Yeah.
sure what that is.
right on the street.
Right.
Listen,
Where did he get it?
I knew a girl in high school that had that, but I'm not really sure what it
right there,
was. She had this big sore in her lip.
You can buy all
Some
what it
guy
is?
it'd come and go, and sometimes it'd be there, sometimes it
Yeah,
wouldn't.
it's the gift that keeps on giving. But I mean, I'm not really sure. Amoxicillin?
Do we got any listeners? Do we have any listeners in Mexico? Have you ever done the?
No, that's why we talk shit on them all the time.
Yeah.
we done ruined that relationship.
They got
a
to
long
get
time
over
ago.
the wall.
Go ahead. Hey, listen.
or under it.
Trump's going to build that wall now, buddy.
The signal can't get over all that. Go ahead, the Rio Grande. Go ahead and give David. We're going to call David Moore up. Probably David. We're going to call you on Messenger, Facebook Messenger, assuming that you have it. Once again, thanks for tuning in tonight. We're going to have the actual audio stuff come out a little bit later in the morning tomorrow, which would be on a Monday, the 29th. Today's Michelle's birthday. We have to wish her a happy birthday. Big Duggar Dance happening on the 10th
February
of
10th.
February. We're going
Yeah,
to get with
man.
Mike Hurst and do the Extreme Mustang Makeover on the 25th of February in Jane Lou, which is going to be very interesting.
Are we going to have our crew down there? We're going to do a little live broadcast.
Yeah, I think it would be great.
I think
Is
it would
David
be
not
too.
on there? Okay, we're going to talk to
here we
David
go.
right now. Let's see. This is going to be a very good conversation. I learned a lot the other day with David. Dave?
Hey, Dave.
Hi, guys.
There we go.
What's going on, Dave?
Oh, not much.
Very nice.
Hey, listen, man. We were just talking about this a lot of how things in the world that we were just talking about actually the flu vaccine. Now, how that pertains to your situation is completely different. However, the science and the medicine is pretty outstanding in the sense of how everything's working. First of all, explain your situation on what you're dealing with right now.
Well, right now I have a condition called fatty liver. It's also known by the terminal name. The technical name is NASH, and that stands for non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. Big word.
Yeah, it is. Can you spell that?
But no,
Okay.
I will not spell that.
All right.
Hey, Dave, let me ask you a quick question because how funny is it that before anything happens to you, you're not really good with anything, with terminology or how procedure is, but once you have either a loved one or yourself start coming down with something, you start learning stuff and you start learning how to say things.
Now you
start
sound
learning-
like a doctor now.
Yeah, all of a sudden you get really smart, and that's good that you're actually getting educated yourself, so you can ask the important questions when it comes time for your deal.
Oh yeah, you really do it because if you want to live, you need to know all the good stuff and everything. And I've learned a lot. And I still got a lot more to learn. That's the bad part. I don't know how well it was come on here to talk about liver cirrhosis and need for transplant. And you guys are all sitting there with them nice Miller High Lights.
Hey, it just see
We're trying to flush. We're flushing our kidneys
flushing
right
the
now.
kidneys. It's all for the kidneys. We don't super indulge in anything, of course. But anyway, once
What
again,
we're talking about.
yeah, continue, Dave.
Yeah, we're talking tonight about the type I have, which is fatty liver.
Right.
And some of the issues about that. And basically, what happened in my liver was, and is happening in a lot of people's, is the liver just doesn't process fat that you eat in your normal diet. And it's also partially genetic. And too much of that staying in your liver will eventually cause scarring, a condition they call cirrhosis. And when that happens, the liver tissue quits being as healthy as it once was, and it doesn't function like it should, which is therefore why you have to have the transplant.
So basically, what you're saying is like when you say get a fatty liver, then you're displacing all those liver cells, the healthy cells. So then when it comes time to the regeneration aspect, the healing aspect of the liver comes along, then it's a little bit harder for that to actually, happen. So where it actually doesn't happen, and then that produces the scarring.
That's
Sorta.
correct. That's correct.
Okay.
You're pretty smart, Chuck.
So now all of a sudden you're dealing with now. When were you diagnosed? To where it was actually
I was diagnosed with it in 2003. I'd went in to have gastric bypass surgery, try to lose some of this weight that I had on, and the doctor cut me open. And as soon as he cut me open and he saw my liver, he sewed me right back up.
So they weren't even going to mess with you.
So you've been dealing with this for almost 15 years now.
Yeah. And up until 2 years ago, they have a scoring system that they take into several aspects. Blood work and some different things like that, but they have a scoring system. They call it the MELD score. And up until 2 years ago, my MELD score had been hanging in around 11. And
what's the norm?
Recently, normal is probably 0 to 5, 0 to 10.
Wow.
Or 0 somewhere below 10. I'd be honest, I never really looked at what the normal was, but about 6 months ago, I guess, I really started having issues. I've noticed over time that some of the things that happens when you have this type of disease is extreme fatigue, muscle wasting. I noticed. I think my 10-year-old is stronger than I am now. Unfortunately, so with a wife and 7 kids, I don't get to beat up on anybody very often. I'm usually the one getting whipped around here.
Right. Kids taking advantage of you.
Yeah, Donnie Everett will attest to that. Har har.
Har har. I love when you do pirate.
Yeah.
So now let me ask you this. So you're dealing with this stuff now. So you go into the doctor. They tell you basically you're going into what you have a fatty liver, but for the most part, it's going to be liver failure at some point.
They told me that 10 years ago, or back in 2003, that eventually I'd need a liver transplant.
So now you're to the point to where you are going to have this. Now I assume it's because your liver's to the point to where it's just not going to function anymore.
It's getting closer. It's still functioning some. But you can see my blood work. When they do my blood work, my liver enzymes are going higher. Bilirubin, that's the stuff in it. You'll notice a lot of people that have liver disease, their skin starts to turn yellow. Their whites of their eyes are yellow.
Get a lot of jaundice in there.
A lot of jaundice. So that's getting worse.
Right.
And some of the other symptoms, like I think it was back in November, I'd gotten to the point that one of the things is the liver produces ammonia out of the, how your nutrients and everything are processed through your colon and everything, and that's how your body actually gets its nutrients.
Right.
And my ammonia level had started going up. I didn't realize it was going up like it was. And before you knew it, I was sleeping 20 hours out of the day.
Wow.
Was very lethargic.
So you knew something was wrong. You knew something was wrong with you.
Yeah. And I ended up, I spent a week at UHC, and my wife took me straight from there to Pittsburgh. And I was in the emergency room at UPMC for about 20 minutes, and they said, "We're admitting you to the liver floor." I spent another week there while they were detoxifying me with, unfortunately, the best cure for it is laxatives. So you can imagine
yeah.
That sounds.
Well, you had to get that poison out of you and everything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And medications they give you, and there is one medication they're giving you now that helps some, but I'm not sure how much it helps. I haven't noticed a great change with it, but they had to get me back down. And then I felt like I was more clear. Before that, I felt like everything was kind of like a fog.
Right.
I was somewhere, but I wasn't. And that's when, Pittsburgh really started taking seriously. Then, the doctor up there said, "Look," he says, "we need to do this liver transplant." He said, "We need to get you on the list." He said, because I'd rather do it now while you're still relatively healthy compared to some people, and we can get it done. So
well, that's the whole
where we're
thing.
Moving forward. Yeah.
Well, that's why we wanted to
That's
talk to
where
you. We want to talk to you for a couple of different reasons. Number one is there's a lot of the reason that people feel dreary. It could be because of SAD. I suffer terribly from seasonal affect disorder. Okay, well then you know what? That a lot of it can be blamed on the fact that the sun's not out as long or whatever. But the important thing is, it's like I went to the doctor the other day. You need to go because it could actually be your liver. It could be from a medication you're taking. It could be from anything you picked up just from touching something anymore. You know what I mean? And that's what you know. And you might not know it, and you know firsthand when your liver starts going bad. Listen, you're tired. I mean, because that's like besides your brain, then the liver, as far as your function of your body goes.
Well, there goes. That's your 20 hours a day sleeping right there.
I mean, that's crazy.
Well,
yeah, that's a lot.
You know, the latest numbers that they put out last year was that there's like 30-some million people in America that have liver disease of some sort, but they don't know it.
That's a big number.
So, yes, and they're finding, of course, you know, the way we eat in this country, we eat a very fatty diet.
Right.
And there are a lot of people that have fatty liver or NASH, but don't know it, and it hasn't affected them to the point that it affects some other people. Now, in my case, it's affected me probably as bad as anybody can get affected.
Well, no, the thing that I learned about the liver, because every time I go to the doctor, just went the other day, and they said your liver enzymes are great. Fantastic. That makes me happy. But one thing that I learned about the liver, which is a lot like the lung, is that they're so efficient in how they operate, is when they don't operate anymore, you're about done. They, you know, when on some organs, you could be like 90%. When it starts going bad, say your stomach gets upset. Okay, well, that's no big deal. Your stomach is telling you right now something's upset. When your liver's telling you it's upset, or your lungs are telling you they're upset, you know what? You're about 10%. There are only about 10% left of them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
over.
Before
Yeah.
it's getting pretty close to the end.
So what can we do, Doug? What can we do?
Dave, tell us what you're going up to Pittsburgh now for a liver transplant, and you actually
I have to go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. And then you actually found a donor up there.
Well, we're hoping. See, now I still have to go before what they call the Transplantation Evaluation Committee, and what they're going to do on the 5th and 6th of February and the 12th and 13th is I have to have a bunch of diagnostic tests run that will ensure that the rest of my systems in my body are good to go for the transplant. I have to have, a bunch of tests on my heart, lungs, stomach. They'll do tests they'll check me for cancer. If they would find any kind of cancer that had metastasized or spread throughout my body, they'd immediately disqualify me at that time.
Sure.
So, we got to have that done. The liver doctor specialist himself, he's the one that says, from a liver standpoint, you need the transplant.
Right.
So, that's one of the key things that's got to be done first. Now, the potential, there's two types of donors you can get, is a deceased donor or a live donor. Now, of course, we all know about the deceased donors. If you're waiting on a deceased donor, there are currently 117,000 people in this country waiting on transplants. Now, you figure we're a country of, 350 million?
Right.
Mm-hmm. And we've got 117,000 on the transplant list. We're not getting anywhere near the amount of people donating organs that we need to fill this need. That's why there's a need now, and we're finding out that there are certain things that can be done as far as live donors.
Right. Now, explain real quick. Now, this is what's interesting. When we talked the other day, you were telling me about, and this is what the live donor, what you can do. You don't have to be dead to donate something. Say, like with your liver. You can give, up to 75% of your liver away, and that thing will grow back in 4 to 6 weeks, something like that?
I've seen different numbers, anywhere from, 4 to 10 weeks, possibly. More likely, they say 6 to 10 weeks, depending on the national data that they've come out with. but I have seen some that have said 4 to 6 weeks. There's been people went back to work after 3 weeks that have donated part of their liver. Of course, it can't be a very physical job.
Mm-hmm.
That's outstanding.
That's
Really.
crazy. It's actually amazing.
I'm going to ask you. Listen, Dave. I'm going to ask you a couple quick questions. Okay.
Speed round. Speed round.
This is
Dave.
going to be a speed round for you. Number one, if you were going to go back and do everything all over again, and you were going to give somebody advice on how to avoid the situation, as far as liver disease goes, that's, sometimes you get, say, a hepatitis, or you take a cholesterol pill, or you get chemotherapy that kills your liver, and you can't do anything about that. But there are a lot of things, and I'm sure you're educated now, on what people do every single day that they take for granted. Like, say, when it comes to lungs and smoking, drinking and livers. What would you say a fast food and like a fatty liver? What would be your best advice right now? This is your first question. I said fast round, even though I'm dragging it out. Give me if you were going to say one thing to somebody to protect their liver, what would it be?
Eat a more healthy diet. Cut back a lot on the fatty food you eat.
How about like sugars, carbohydrates,
a lot of
things like that?
processed stuff. Stay away from processed foods, fried foods.
Cut back on your pizza and Big Macs.
Yeah,
right.
That kind of stuff. That's a big part. I asked the doctor because I have an uncle that has this, and I was recently found out I have a cousin that's been diagnosed with it. It can be partially genetic in a family.
Mm-hmm.
Have it. So, anytime you go in for your blood work, they should be checking two things. They call it ALT and AST. See if they're high.
Mm-hmm.
If they're high, that's an indication your liver's not functioning right.
Right.
And they need to do some further testing.
Figure out why.
Like my cousin's case she lives in Buchanan. Her doctor just said, well, your liver enzymes are high. You have fatty liver. No other testing or nothing like that. So I've been recommending her to get to Pittsburgh and be checked out up there because they have a special center up there for Center for Fatty Liver where they have some programs where they can try to, before it gets too bad, where your liver actually gets cirrhosed, while it can still reheal itself or regenerate to help you and possibly keep you from having to go through this transplant like I'm going to have to.
Now, speaking about the transplant, if you want to donate, say if I want to, Jimmy, if anybody wants to, say, once again, donate, be a live donor, who would they get in contact with?
Okay, there is you can contact me or my wife, Amy. We have the number for UPMC, the live donor coordinator up there. There are two separate groups. There's the live donor coordination, and there is also the transplant recipient coordinator. They don't share the information back and forth. The potential live donors deal directly with them. We don't know anything as far as any of the test results that comes back or anything if that person's declined or whatever, other than just told that they were declined. There's a form that's online. If you go to our Facebook page, it's Dave's Army. Life is worth the fight.
Okay.
You can find all sorts of information. We've had different things posted on there. One we had posted on there's a form that you can fill out online with some basic information that they're going to ask, but it gets it out of the way, and then the live donor transplant coordinator will call you back
mm-hmm.
in order to discuss the situation with you and see, yes, you could be a potential candidate, or we can rule you out right now.
Now, do you have any?
What's that number to the live donor transplant?
Yeah, do you have any yet?
Let me see if I can find it here.
Hey, I just want to say real quick, Dave, I'm sorry for calling you the wrong name, but I am so notorious for that.
We do that with everybody.
I am horrible for that.
That's okay. I can't remember my own name at
times.
Listen,
my my oldest daughter's brought her boyfriend over here 3 times, and I've called him by a different name every time he's here. So
listen, she yells a different name at me every time.
I do. I'm horrible with names.
Derek. I'm like, well, Derek here? I didn't know he was coming.
Well,
He's
just
Derek.
Jimmy.
She was just pretending you were someone else.
And then she said, Ichiro. I said, you didn't even know Bruce's first
I'm
name.
horrible with names.
So Dave,
I know faces.
So Dave, real quick, while you're looking for that number, now explain to what happens. Say if I want to donate my liver, okay, or a part of my liver, and then assuming mine grows back, and whatever they stick in you is going to grow back. However, now you said, or to my understanding anyway, that health insurance will actually cover 100% of actually the transplant cost.
That's correct.
Now the problem arises, however, is that if I'm out 4 to 10 weeks, which is going to tie into what your fundraiser is up at Jewel City, that's the problem, is that you can't, I say, okay, I want to go ahead, I want to give Todd part of my liver.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, but I'm going to be out 4 to 10 weeks, so then how do I have a paycheck to keep all my bills going as you do, actually?
Right.
So now, and then the donor or the person you're talking with up there, they have a pretty good company that they're working for, to my understanding.
Yeah. We're very hopeful that things work out that way, but the whole purpose of the fundraisers is a couple of reasons. Is there's a lot of out of pocket expense involved with this. We have to make many trips up and back forth to Pittsburgh before we would get the transplant, and they don't keep you in the hospital overnight when they're doing these tests, so you have to stay in a hotel.
Oh, between gas, travel expenses. I mean,
hotel stays.
Meals.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean,
all that stuff.
When people say, just like I did, and it can be misinterpreted. When insurance will cover 100% of a transplant. Well, that's great, but you have to get there. You have to stay somewhere. That's not part of the health insurance stuff.
They're all the extra necessities.
Well, sure. I mean, now if you lived right across from the hospital, that'd be one thing.
Right.
Yeah, Dave and Amy are making several trips up and back.
Yeah, after the transplant, see, you're normally in the hospital up to 2 weeks, or if everything goes well. But then, even though we're only about 2 hours from there, they've told us we need to stay up there probably for at least 3 weeks, because we have to go in every day, have blood work checked to make sure the liver's not rejecting for whatever reason. And make sure everything's okay. I don't have any problems with one of the occurrences that can happen is any kind of leakage, because the liver is a very vascular disease, and sometimes as much as they repair and sew back in the different vessels and everything, the bile ducts, there can be some leakage where they have to go back and either through using stents or actually even going back to surgery fix that. But we'll have to stay off hospital site, probably at a family house or a hotel until that's done.
Well, the amazing,
like you said,
no, go ahead.
Like you said, we are concerned about the donor for the time off they're off work to help them cover their living expenses that they would normally have, that they would normally pay for with their paycheck. So that, that's all part of it, is reasons to be doing the fundraiser and doing it now. So we're prepared when the time comes, to help them, and so that we can get through this procedure and get to the point where we're transplant approved and ready to have it done.
Well, the good thing about it is, I'm just looking on the internet here, and there's an 86% chance of a successful deal. So that's a very good. That's very high. When you're talking about a very vascular organ, when you're talking about the second most important organ in your body, when you're talking about what that thing does, I mean, you talk about multitasking. The liver does it all. I mean, it filters, it produces things, cholesterol, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, all these things that liver does.
Yeah.
Right. And that's when I was asking what we could do to help.
Exactly.
There's a fundraiser. So
yeah, tell us about that, Dave.
So Dave, let's talk about this right now. How can if people that are watching and people that are listening, you're going to have 80,000 people this week listen to this. You're going to have what is it now, 1,400 on Facebook or whatever. Mm-hmm. Tell us what is happening as far as the fundraiser, Jewel City. How can people help? Let's find out. Let's do this right now.
Yeah.
Okay. if you're in the area of Chisholm, West Virginia, we would love for you to come to the fundraiser that we're going to have on February 17th. It'll be from 11 to 6. It'll be a spaghetti dinner, and we're also going to have a silent auction. There have been a lot of great things that have already been donated for the auction. We've got a lot of gift baskets full of gift cards from different restaurants. We've got some stuff from car washes. I think hopefully by the time that's over, I'm waiting on a bunch of stuff. There's some athletic stuff coming in that's supposed to be signed. We've already gotten a lithograph from the Pittsburgh Steelers of Antonio Brown with his signature on it.
Nice.
I'm friends with the father of the 2017 U.S. Open PGA event. We're trying to get some signed memorabilia from him for it. I've got friends who, of course, the Cleveland Browns aren't big down here in West Virginia, but one of my good friends is former head coach of the Cleveland Browns, Sam Rutigliano. He coached them back in their glory day of the 80s when they had Brian Sipe and they were known as the Cardiac Kids.
How about the...
Where is the fundraiser?
Jewel City.
Yeah, the fundraiser will be at Jewel City Church in the gym building. Be
February
set up there
17th.
from February 17th. That's on a Saturday.
What time? What time, Dave?
11 to 6. I got it scrolling on the
Okay,
screen.
yeah, very good. We're confirming all this stuff because Darren has it scrolling across the screen right now, David.
Yeah, and we'll definitely help to get the word out on that.
Well, you can count on my family
This is
coming
all
there.
on our Facebook page, Dave's Army. Life is worth the fight. We also have a PayPal page that you can donate to. It's also Dave's Army. You can find it at PayPal. Now that requires you to create your own PayPal account, but you can make a donation through it. You go to www.paypal.me and then search for Dave's Army. And if you're not able to be here and you wish to make a contribution, you could do it that way. Plus, if you ever wanted to, I'll give you guys my home address. If they want to mail a check, we've had people mail checks to the house.
Well,
whichever way they'd want to do it.
This is going to be a long process for you, David, as it will be with everybody. And we're going to follow you through this entire thing, which will do two things. It will bring awareness. So, because like you said earlier, 37 million Americans in the United States have some sort of liver disease or liver failure right now, and they don't even know it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's number one. Number two is when that day does happen, we're going to also bring awareness to the fact of it's important to go every year, if not every 6 months, to figure out how well your organs are, because they can actually find that out with blood work.
Simple blood test.
Simple blood test.
Yeah.
$40 copay right now, Blue Cross Blue Shield Federal. Okay. And then number three, what we're going to do with you is, you're going to kind of be Rogan Radio's guinea pig. I hate to tell you that. We're going to follow your track through all this thing, and we're going to see how it all works out. So that way we can document it. Then anybody else we can help around the country, around the world, then they can understand a little bit better not to be afraid. It's scary. It's a terrible thing to have to deal with. You know what? However, there is hope, and we're going to find that, and we're all going to pull together, and we're going to get you through it. No big deal. So you got this, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I certainly appreciate that. Now one thing, the live donor, if you don't like scars, you're going to have what they call the badge of honor scar, or the gift of life scar. It's not a small incision they have to do to go in and take out part of your liver, and certainly not a small incision they're going to have to do on me to take out my entire liver.
Right.
So,
Hey, Dave, listen,
that's the trade-off you get for still being alive.
Listen, man, I got a suggestion for you. When you go in there and have your liver transplant, do yourself a favor and tell the doctor, just go ahead and take the gallbladder while you're at it.
No doubt.
Listen, nobody's getting shown.
Two birds, one stone, Dave.
I had
Mine's
gone.
They automatically do that.
Oh, do they really? Okay, I didn't know that.
They will take out your gallbladder, and they will also take out the gallbladder of the live donor.
Oh,
no
really?
kidding.
That's good. That's
Megan
good.
had her gallbladder out.
Well, listen. Hey, Dave, listen. super appreciate you talking to us, man. We're not going to keep you on now.
Yeah,
but
we wish you the best, man.
But listen, we're going to stay in constant contact. Of course we are. And then you're going up to Pittsburgh when?
We're going up to start the testing process that I have to do with the Transplant Evaluation Committee, February 5th and 6th, and the 12th and the 13th. Those are my testing dates. We're going up on the Sunday night before.
Right.
And then I'll be in there on Monday and Tuesday of each week. And hopefully shortly after that, the transplant committee will go over all the numbers and all the data, and they'll say you're good to go. And then we can start the live donor people that want to be tested. They can start getting tested. And, if everything goes well, maybe by the middle of March or somewhere, we'll
have a new liver.
Yeah. And listen, you'll be coming down here, man. You'll be making us pancakes.
Yeah, or liver and onions.
Yeah, right.
Or liver and onions day.
Hey, listen, listen, you know what? Leave it to dog. Yeah, do that.
Gross.
But anyway.
Somehow I don't have a feeling after having a liver transplant, I'm going to want to be eating liver and onions.
I imagine not.
Yeah, probably not.
I imagine not. But Dave, I super once again want to appreciate you talking with us tonight, bringing awareness to the situation, telling us your story. Because like you said earlier, there's a lot of people that have these kind of problems. Maybe not in particular a liver problem, but they're dealing with some kind of a medical problem, an emotional problem. But when you have people that come around you and talk about it, and you have a support group like that, and you just face those fears like you're doing, man, you can knock this out, and it's good to go.
Well, that's what we're hoping. We're hoping, like I say, my children, I have 7 kids, and they range in age from 24 to 9, and 1 2.5-year-old granddaughter. And I'd like to be around to see him to grow up.
Buddy, you're going to, Dave. Hey, listen, man.
We're going to get the word out on this fundraiser, and we're going to help you out the best we can. We're going to help you
Absolutely,
out.
Dave.
And we're going to pray for you.
I hope y'all can come.
Oh, we'll be there.
I'll be at the dinner for sure. I'll bring my family down.
We'll get the word out.
But Dave, listen, you keep in contact with us. I know you. I mean, you talked to Todd, you talked to me. You got our numbers. You just keep us in contact so we can kind of do this. And once again, Dave's Army on the Facebook.
Yeah, I got a link on there, so just click on that.
Very much.
Good, man. Good. David, listen.
Appreciate it very much.
Listen, man.
All right.
God bless you, brother, because you know what? You're dealing with a fight that you know what? Anytime you start dealing with that, like you said, with your family, and you start thinking about the end, you don't want it to be the end. It'd be okay if it was just you, but you have so much to live for. Man, you're just going to do it. Just keep that positive attitude.
All right, guys.
All right, David.
Thank you, and God bless y'all.
Hell
Take
yeah,
care.
brother. There you go.
God bless.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, just got off the phone there. David, we'll talk to you, brother.
All right.
That's Dave Moore. He's telling us his story, and you know what? It's a very good story because he brought awareness. And you know what? A lot of us have problems. We take a lot of things for granted every single day. And, you take your family for granted. You take your health for granted. 2 things that you absolutely should not, first of all. And to be, we're sitting here drinking beer, slapping ass and everything else, and then then you have Dave who's going to deal with this, or you have somebody else listening right now that had this, maybe just found out this last week that they got the cancer news or something like that. You know what I mean?
You
Scared
live
to
every
death.
day. Live every day.
But they're scared to death. The thing is, don't be scared. I mean, the unknown is kind of scary, but so is standing up in front of and talking in front of people. That's scary too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, you know what was scary about this whole thing right here? You could tell. I'm just sitting back wondering right now just how wore out he is.
It's got to be
from having just this conversation.
Sure,
you could hear
him out
the
of breath.
strain to keep the conversation going and answer the questions and statements and stuff.
Well, when you're talking about a vital organ in your body like that. That's brutal. I mean, that's the entire thing. Just like with with your lungs and all that. But we pray for the best for David, and you know what? It's going to work out. Science is amazing, medicine is amazing, and we'll pray to God, and it'll all be fine.
And get your wellness checks every year.
You know what? Why not? Because
That's
a lot of
right
health
there.
insurance coverage will actually pay for that. Yep. Just for like a $40 copay, you're going to figure out one way or another.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
what,
I just
what
found
do
out.
we have now? 2 or 3. We got 3 Saturdays from now. That's plenty of time. 3 weeks from now.
Right.
Get your butt in line. Get down there. Get your spaghetti dinner. Make a donation.
Yeah. Because once again, the donation it goes into David's expense and his family's expense.
The travel
but it also
expense,
goes
all
into
that.
think of the donor. The donor doesn't have to pay anything to give in their liver, but for 4 to 10 weeks they're going to be out of work. Now they're trying to save somebody's life. But you know what? It's kind of hard to say. Okay, like if I go into the post office and say, "Listen, I'm going to be out of commission for I don't know, 3 or 4 months because I want to give some of my liver to somebody." You know what they're going to tell me? Well, you know what,
Jimmy? Do you really think they'd miss him? Really?
Shut your mouth.
I will tell you this.
I think so.
I would, because that means I got to take everybody's trash out myself.
Continue.
My company, Frontier Communications, they would take care of you on that.
See, that's good.
They really would, because the difference that you're making and everything. Now you're not going to get paid probably, or they may pay you half. Or let you
they're not taking care of you.
Well,
it
what
would
I'm
be
saying
under like
is
a temporary disability thing where you get like 40%.
Yeah. So, but when you're making that big of an impact for somebody,
that's what I mean.
Take care of you.
And you know what? And that's what when I was talking to David earlier, I was like, what kind of person? I mean, now listen, seriously, and they're going to wrap this thing up. But what kind of person goes into with you can go in and say, I'm going to give 20 or 75% of my liver to save somebody else's life. Okay? But there's no guarantee that the person that's given their liver, that everything's going to go smooth for them.
Right.
Yeah, but they're taking that upon themselves because they have such that heart in their body to say, I'm more worried about them living than I am complications with me from living. You know what I mean? And that's a pretty big thing, because I'll be the first to tell you, I'm not there.
Yeah.
Even with kidneys, it'd be like, okay, well, Todd needs a kidney. I was like, well, listen, I only got 2, dude. And if something goes wrong with one, then I'm down to 1. If something goes wrong with that one,
And then you got to be a match.
Then I'll give you one, babe.
You'll give me.
I'll have 2.
I would love to have your ovaries, but you know what? You still haven't. Until you can tell me.
I'll give you anything I have.
Wow. That's love, buddy.
Happy birthday.
That is
But
love.
you know what I mean, though, to actually say that part of when you're talking about something as complicated as a transplant. Just so happens the liver can grow back. They have it down to a science, but nevertheless, there are things to just like I saw with just kidneys or whatever. Jackson,
Jackson Strong.
absolutely.
Look what they went through there.
Yeah, and it's just
Look,
that
when it comes to science, anything can happen at any time.
But it's all about the heart.
Exactly.
It's all about the heart. So if you can't, like I said, I'm not there to the point to where I can donate something out of my body. They won't take it anyway because I've already had cancer, so they won't take it. But it's easy for me to say that. But I can give $100. I can give $5. I can give $1. You give 1,000 people just to give $1.
Bam.
There's $1,000.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just $1.
Right.
If you have enough people doing it.
Oh, listen. You know what the nice thing about Rogan Radio is in this. How many people around? Just not even talking local. For the donations, because there's a PayPal account. You can go on there and donate if you can't make the spaghetti dinner.
Yep.
If you're not local, there's all over the country. You know how many people listen to this thing every week?
Right.
All they got to do is go right to that.
And it
that
doesn't have to be.
Facebook, they
Listen,
can make a donation.
everybody, and that's the whole thing. David is one example of thousands of people around the country. If you're listening to in San Francisco, California, one of the biggest bases that we have.
Yeah.
There's somebody in San Francisco that you could give $5 to. Or there's somebody in St. Louis, or there's somebody in Alexandria, Virginia. There's somebody somewhere close to you. It doesn't have to be like right here.
Right.
But it's the whole point of the awareness aspect of things, just to go on there and check it out.
There is someone right down the road from where you're at, regardless
if
of
not
where
your
you're
neighbor.
sitting.
Yeah.
And if not, and you know what? The scary thing is, it might be you, and you're a ticking time bomb, and you're saying, you know what? I'm not going to spend $5. And then it turns out to where you're going to be asking for $5.
You probably got $5 in change sitting in your house somewhere.
I guarantee you.
You know.
Hey,
I mean, and some people don't.
It's just-
I get it, but you know what? If you got it, just throw it out there.
And you know
One
what?
time.
And that's the worst part. Like you see these bitches up here at East Point when they're out there putting their there's people that go out there like you see on a ramp, and those are the people that give everything a bad name.
Right.
So then you have these people out there that go on Floridian trips and they're out there with their signs begging for shit. But then you have somebody that really needs it.
Right.
And then but everybody's so skeptical. Like you have a GoFundMe account. We'll say for Chuck. Chuck comes down with some kind of crazy disease. I can't afford it, or I don't want to bankrupt my family. People will understand that. If it wasn't for the fact of all these other people abusing it, then it's like so much skepticism. Like, well, Chuck's going to go out here and buy him a new vehicle.
Yeah, one better.
Or he's going to go buy him a new podcast studio, or he's going to buy this, or he's going to buy that. He's not really, because he's a dead man walking anyway. So why does he need anything? Well, no, well, that's what I'm saying. That's the whole skepticism.
Society's mentality.
I know. I just
But you
don't
see
like
what I'm
that
saying?
example.
Well, I had to use
we'll
me.
use Jimmy then.
Well,
We'll use
just
Jimmy as an example.
Okay, that's better.
That's not bad.
So Jimmy's playing with a gun.
That sounds better.
But you see what I'm saying? So don't be skeptical when it comes to something like that. You know when somebody's legit, and you know when somebody's.
And David is legit. Dave Moore is legit.
But you'll find somebody in your neighborhood or in your church or in somebody you work with. You know when they're.
Hey.
Listen, one of these days, one thing I can tell you is that it's going to be us. It's going to be everyone at some point in time.
Right.
And you don't want to be on that bed and your eyes closing, but the light's getting brighter, thinking, man, I effed up because there were only a few things I had to do to make myself feel good, and I didn't. Because I wanted to go to Starbucks, I wanted a pack of cigarettes,
McDonald's,
I wanted a bigger beer than Chuck. Yeah, you know what, whatever it could be. But that's my rant.
You brought up one that how many people go to Starbucks every
it's
day?
ridiculous.
Yeah, just one cup of coffee, man.
Yeah.
All right, Carol goes to Starbucks every day. $5.62.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now granted,
some good coffee.
Her brother gives her money
Not
for
that good.
Starbucks for her birthday. Her daughter does stuff, gift cards. A lot of that comes from gift card stuff. She's not actually having to pay. But for all you people that walk in, get you a coffee every morning, and you actually take that $5 out and you hand it over. One day, skip your Starbucks. Drink Folgers.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just take
Hand
that
that
one day.
Anything small like that.
Yeah.
Anything small.
Or go to
Because
Whether
them
it be
little
a-
small things.
Whether
add
it
up.
be a pack of cigarettes, a can of snuff, a 6-pack of beer,
Full throttle.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Two daggone
But
drinks.
it's what's so funny.
D-Mac.
Like when it like comes to a guy like Dave, because I get kind of clouded. I mean, I try to keep myself very much grounded, and we all have had our experiences that at times will bring us back down to reality. And so it's like, boom. Okay, I'm living pretty comfortable. I have no worry. This past year has been outstanding for me. I can't complain about a damn thing.
Oh.
And then I got married and all went to shit.
Oh, wait a second.
I'm joking. No, I was talking. No, listen. This past year.
I really thought that you were building
I was.
up to.
No, I really was.
Okay, good.
But the entire thing was, last year I was supposed I normally have my doctor's appointment in December. And I called him and I said, no, I'm not going to do it in December because this has been such the great. This has been the best year of my life.
2017 was absolutely
The absolute
amazing.
best year of my life. I don't want to screw it up by getting something bad and ruin it with like 3 weeks left.
Right.
I said, I'll come back. I'll come back. Because I just didn't want to take that chance. Because
Right.
last year was so great, right? But then you know when everything's going good for you and you're sitting in a position like I am and everything, you cannot, if you're on the outside and you're looking at Chuck Rogan and you're thinking, what is wrong with this guy? He's got a beautiful wife. He's got a couple cool, females living with the kids living in the house, 4 cars, a house paid for. You know what? What's that guy got the bitch about? Some great friends. He's got this podcast studio, green screen where he can fly his girlfriends, his wife all around. He can fly his wife all around. But you know what I mean? But you know, what's he got the bitch about? Then I'll talk to Dave.
I haven't met the girlfriends yet.
Yeah, but you
okay.
will.
Okay.
But yeah,
Can't wait for that.
But what I'm saying is, then all of a sudden you talk to a guy like Dave, which brings you back down because tomorrow I could get the call or I could get that certain pain and then boom.
Yeah, it don't bring
Then
you
what do I
down. It brings you
have?
back down to reality.
Yeah, you have to see. You have to stay grounded because you know what? You could have all the money in the world. You could have every luxury in the world. You could have the best family in the world. But you know what? You could die tomorrow.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what some people usually ask me why I think the way I do. If you notice, I just tell them I put myself into their shoes.
That's right,
What
Bruce.
if I were just like them tomorrow? What would I want a world to treat me? How they want them to see me? Stuff like that.
You know, I don't know who said this, and then we will get out of here.
Confucius.
It could be. But you aspire to be the richest person on the planet with the head of the poorest man.
Right.
There you go.
So that way you keep yourself grounded, and you realize what a dollar is, and you don't waste stuff, and you appreciate your common man. But anyway,
That's right.
Did anybody have did anybody have some kind of cool music underneath that? Because when I was going on my rant, like America the Beautiful.
Before we move on here, I just want to say something here. This is D. I'm not on camera because I have the cameras moved around, but I want to thank all the listeners that are still with us through this because, you know, all silliness aside, this is what we at Rogan Radio do.
Absolutely.
This is what we are about.
You're absolutely right.
Our whole community, you know, whether it be Shinsta and Lumberport, no matter what, this is what we do. And, you know, this is what's most important to us is helping our fellow man.
Exactly
Or
right.
helping our community.
Yeah, I mean, Rogan Radio
So,
was kind of founded on that
thank
whole,
you.
the community. The
Right.
community.
Because as much as we like
And
to
I
have
just
fun,
wanted to thank the
yeah,
fans
and you
that
know
are
what?
still around,
That's
and
a great
listening
point.
And just thanks so much.
That's a great point because we could also get caught up, just like what I was just saying. We can get caught up in the entertaining aspect of things, but we've been really well. We do really good at staying very level-headed at the reality of the world.
Right.
Yeah.
We'd like to make you laugh, but at the same time, we'd like to tell you, why you should cry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
You can't really
life.
have one without the other anyway.
You really can't. It makes you appreciate the laughter. You have to cry to appreciate the laughter, and you have to laugh to appreciate the crying.
You should put that on a T-shirt.
I should.
Call KDS, printed the signs and mark it.
Steve, Denise, get on that.
623 1234.
304 6 or 366 1234.
Yeah, something like that.
But anyway, we really want to appreciate or thank Dave for talking about his story. That can't be easy. Hey, Michelle, we have a listen. It's your birthday tomorrow.
Well, I'm going to be 29.
Well, you need to get up there. You need to get up there in front of this in the green screen.
In front of the green screen.
In front of the green screen.
Yeah,
because listen, when we put this out,
With the microphone or no?
No, you just stand there.
You don't need
just
a
stand there.
microphone. Just stand there.
I have my.
We want to wish you a very happy birthday.
Babe, I have my.
Her chest is
Rogan-
gonna be see-through.
It don't matter.
Yeah. So
Just
There
do
were
all-
so many things
we'll
we
see
didn't-
through you.
It's fine. It'll be fine.
It's
Yeah,
fine.
it'll be okay. Yeah,
Quit and get up there.
just make sure you stand to the right a little bit. Or your left a little bit. Darren's got it all figured out. Is she good now?
Yep, move to your right.
We're going to sing Michelle a happy birthday. What we would like for you
Right
to do, if
there.
you're listening, just make these emojis just absolutely
Just stand
fly
still.
out the bells.
Just stand
and
still.
Just stand still, baby, and look at the camera. It's your
Are you ready? Are we
birthday.
ready, Chuck?
Oh, I think we're ready.
Woo! Infobells!
No, we got it on the strum. We have it on the thing.
We do?
Yeah.
Hang on.
Oh, for Pete's sake, alive.
Yeah. No. Okay.
what?
No.
Yeah, but we can't hear you.
There we go. All right, here we go. Here's Michelle's birthday song.
Bad feeling.
Oh, there we go.
All right,
Okay.
ready?
That's all
Let's
right.
go.
Yeah, let's do it. You gotta hear it. To you, dear Michelle, happy birthday. Look to your right, babe. Look to your right. Put your fingers out and twirl a little bit.
45-degree angle. Put your fingers out like this. 45.
Yeah,
There you
oh,
go.
yeah.
Oh,
Give me a Spock. Give me a Spock. What's Spock do? Like this, babe. Like this right here. All right, play that one, Todd. Okay, we're gonna. Okay, there. Birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Birthday happy.
Happy birthday, dear Michelle. What the hell is your birthday?
Happy birthday
to you, Michelle. Yay, my love, darling.
I can't wait till she watches this.
Happy birthday to you. You're so pretty. You really are pretty.
She's all right.
It's going to be a good birthday.
Yeah, that's
she's
a
all
least.
right. She's okay.
You know what's really cool about Michelle? And let me
I
tell
know
you
you
this.
guys
I'm gonna
can't
go on my rant for a minute about Michelle, and then we will get out of here. Go ahead and take another seat. Let me tell you about Michelle. Michelle and I, we first started dating probably what? Next week or something like that, a year ago?
Oh, no, it was longer than that.
Yeah, it was actually earlier than that, but you didn't actually confess that you loved
No,
her.
when did we do the
January.
whole Facebook thing is what I'm talking
That
about.
when we did the whole Facebook thing was February. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it was around
When
the
it
party.
Yeah, right
Super
around
Bowl.
the Super Bowl party. So
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
decided
that's
we decided we were going to be a couple because we've been up to that point. We've been talking because everything in my life has been going kind of to shit a little bit, and then so we met out of mere chance, out of mere coincidence.
Yes.
And what's really cool about Michelle, and I'm going to tell you this, and this is why.
Meerkat? Find me some violin music.
Don't make me cry because my birthday's
Well,
depressing
no,
enough.
But what's really cool about Michelle is that she didn't know. I didn't know her from Adam. She didn't know me from Adam, right?
Who's
and
Adam?
So
Right.
So she comes into the life.
Eve's
and
husband.
And listen, yeah, absolutely. So she comes in and she absolutely tells, she opens herself up to me, and as I do to you.
Oh,
But
so-
I think I was a little bit. Nah, I wasn't nearly as accepting.
You're an asshole.
I was. Yeah, I was. I
Yeah,
I didn't want
pretty
anything to-
much.
Absolutely. Truth be told, I didn't want anything to do with Michelle. That's truth.
Truth.
Okay.
I mean,
being honest.
I appreciate. How many times I tell you to get?
And
How many times did I tell you to split?
Okay. Yeah.
No, a lot because I was just playing that. You know,
I think he was afraid. He was afraid of his feelings.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've told her that.
Didn't want to.
No, I've absolutely told her that. But you know what? The best thing is that all of that has ended, and now we're married, and you are absolutely the love of my life.
Oh,
he was trying to be a tough guy. Yeah,
no, I was. Yeah. No, I was. But you know what? You have absolutely opened yourself up, and you know what? You're amazing.
Hey, you
absolutely.
know what? I have
you really are. No, listen, you are.
Do you want us to leave the room?
Hey, Chuck.
Yeah, absolutely. Get out of here.
Hey, Chuck. I have a
Thank
quick
you,
question for you.
babe.
As much as you appreciate how much she does for you.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever cried?
Oh no, we've cried together.
Yeah.
No, how about you by yourself and say when you think about Michelle, man, I'm the luckiest guy.
Oh no, listen, I tell her I do. No, that's no joke. Is that you know what you have relationships? I call them, and then you have relationships. And listen, you know what he doesn't have one. That's why he's upset. Because the reason why because Michelle stole me from him.
Yeah, that has a lot to do with it, Chuck.
Well,
that's
you
why
notice
I'm
what?
sorry, Todd.
But no, it's her birthday, so I'm allowed to say this stuff. I never say this stuff.
Well, that's great.
You
Well,
never
very
do.
sweet.
Baby.
But hey, listen, a lot of guys don't talk like that.
Well, no,
especially on
the whole thing is that you know what I'm going to blast it off here a little bit. Is the fact of it is if you were never born, my life would have not been as great as it is right now. I would have never known the girls. I would have never known you. I would have never known your parents, your brother. I would have never known any of that.
Well, you guys perfect example.
Yeah.
Things happen.
So
for
it's your
a reason.
birthday, and I'm glad you were born. I'm glad
Thank
your parents
you.
got it on like
And you
that.
know, thanks.
I'm glad your
think.
grandparents and all that. Well, I'm glad if you want to get
but,
crazy about it.
Actually, my life is a lot more worth living now. Thanks to
It's
you.
funny how that works.
It is funny how that works.
Anyway, we're going to
hit the lights, Darren. Hit the lights, Darren. Hit the lights.
Yeah, anyway.
People are about to go to bed already.
Yeah, now we're talking.
That's better.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get out of here on behalf of Chad Puccio.
Puccio.
We never did get to talk about the House of Delegates.
Hey, that's no big
We'll
deal.
do
We
that
got
next
time.
week.
We got time for that.
Yeah,
Or not today. I'm talking about we got time for that in the future.
Well,
It
we
ain't
got
a big deal.
D-Mac. He's running for the House of Delegates. Michelle Rogan in the House. Darren back over there in the old director's chair. Bruce Takahashi from Japan. And with a great Australian accent. Give me another one.
Tell us farewell, Bruce.
Good night, mate.
Yeah.
There we go.
Jimmy Wiz from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And Todd Beck here from Lumberboard/Ohio/ Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Say Asheville.
/ Uranus.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been listening to Rogan Radio.
Woo! Yeah.